requires, or they only take original instruments. So when you're sending a note to the Treasury, so when you put in these applications with the company, before your account was finished and open and whatever, they done sold it. They done sold it. They done transferred that note out of their company and sold it. They transfer it and they sell it, and that's how they make money. You give them an instrument, they sell it on the markets, they're supposed to take the interest, part of the interest, and you get the principal and interest, right? Whatever they don't get, they're allowed a service fee for being the middleman. Now, when you give them an application for a credit card, they do the same thing. They trade it, they're selling it. So you gave them something of value. So when they deny you, you are able to say, okay, well, if you're not going to give me this card after I gave you something of value, then I need you to return to me what I gave you that had value. Because if I'm not dealing with your company, you don't get to have that anymore. Right? One, because it is valuable, and two, because it has my private information, and I'm allowed to get that back from you if I want to void my signature on that contract, right? So they have to give it back to you. But the thing is, they can't give it back to you because they sell it. You see? So they don't have a choice but to give you what you asked for. It's really that simple. And in order to be negotiable, it has to have value, and it has to be able to be transferred to third parties. So you can ask them, did you transfer my application to a third party? Okay. So they'll tell you. If you call them and ask them, and I wish somebody would, if you call them and ask them if your application can be considered a promissory note because they can transfer it to third parties, they'll tell you yes. You can call them and ask them this question. Like I said, it's not, again, you have to use your better judgment. Like I said, anything you say over the phone is not admissible, but that doesn't mean that they're still not going to tell you things, or that you see what I'm saying? Again, it's not a one size fits all, right? Not a one size fits all. So and again, I've done this before. I have called companies and asked them this question. The underwriters will tell you flat out, exactly. You transferred my application, did you not? You're selling my application and earning from it. I am allowed to get mine off of that. Okay? So it's not really, they get the security deposit, but they're still selling the application. Yes. That's why they give you the security deposit back. You see what I'm saying? That's what they tell you. If you pay it off for the next 3 months, you can do that. It is in the prospectus that they are selling it, but that's why you ask them on the phone, because again, they can't tell you anything contrary to customer policy. If the banks are recording you, you can just say agreed and record, right? Because if they're recording you, you can record them for quality assurance. You can just say agreed that is being recorded for quality assurance. That doesn't mean that just they're recording. Even if you never graduate the secured card, it's the same thing. You gave them an application, they trading it, and they're making money. Give me back my application, please. But they can't give it back to you, so they have no choice but to open up the account. And when you know that they can't give it back to you because they're selling it and trading it, and therefore they must open the account, then you know, okay, well, you're selling it and trading it, which means that I'm supposed to be collecting my dividends every month. So where are my dividends every month? I need you to give me my dividends every month. Those dividends are coming in the form of that statement that you sending me, so I'm going to go ahead and use that to pay you. You see what I'm saying? You got to know how to follow the line. See what I mean? It's that simple. I'm literally telling y'all the sauce right now. Federal Reserve Act says anything you sign for is automatically the value you stated. Exactly. So people want to ask, okay, well, where do I get that from? What is the law that says that? Well, there you go. Now you know what it is. So that when the bank is asking you, well, what makes this money? What makes this have value? Okay, well, you see that number right there. You see the number on there. You see how it says it's worth $2,500. Okay, well, look right here in the Federal Reserve Act where it say the moment that I put my signature on here, it becomes worth the declared value. So I have declared that it's worth $2,500. So what you about to do? You gonna follow the law or nah? So I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not much to elaborate on there, my good sir. Um, you know, get your money. That's that's about what I can say there. Get your money, black man, black man. Get your money. Which edition? You get because if it's not the second edition didn't have the right the first and second editions didn't have the person centric part in there. You got to use that part. And if you did, I don't know what to tell you. Do it again. But even like we said though, once you know enough, you don't ever need to go to court. Even again, the audit report knockout punch. It's something where when you get it and you understand it, you will not ever have to go in there because it should never get that far because they should know that you know well before then. Yeah. You got to understand any company, okay, account is a banking term, right? What it is for blackmail, pretty much. 100%. If you read American Express prospectus, it tells you their charge cards generally don't have limits. No, they don't. No, they don't. They might ignore that you said you have a securitization audit because they don't know what a securitization audit is. Or maybe they do, but again, it's not enough to just say you have it. You have to put some of that information in there, talking about where they transfer it and what they do. Like that's what you got to hit them with. They don't care that you have an audit; they care what you do with it. And if you have it and don't know what to do with it, it doesn't make a difference. Oh, but like I was saying, an eligible receivable for an eligible account from the eligible investment. Absolutely. But again, the word account is a banking term, right? Y'all understand that? The word account is a banking term, right? So, anywhere that you have an account, can't hear, is the audio gone? Can y'all hear? Can y'all hear? Hello? Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me, y'all. Hello? Can y'all hear me? Okay. Just making sure because people were saying there was no sound. Like I was saying, account is a banking term. Anywhere you have an account, you can assume that there are securities attached to that account. So, all companies, all companies who you're dealing with will have some kind of money attached to it. DMV. It don't matter where it is. If you have an account, there's money attached to it. That simple. You have accounts, even privately owned ones, for the most part. It depends on what you mean by privately owned, but even in that case, for the most part, yes. If you're dealing with these companies and you have an account, you can assume that there's some type of security attached to it anywhere that you've done an application. So they are not allowed to make securities for themselves. They need us. Basically, a holding of exactly. If they assumed your account from another company, that means you had an account with another company, and all this they just transfer it right over. Why are you considered an investor? Because you gave them money. You invested into their company, good sir. When you give them, so okay, when you go and you get an auto loan from Bank of America for $20,000, when you sign the application, you gave Bank of America $20,000 cash value. You see what I'm saying? Your application that you handed in was money. Money that you gave to that company for the purpose of them using it to turn it into more money and then paying you what you earn. You see what I'm saying? So you're an investor because you invested in the company. What does it mean to be an investor in the company? You buy stock in the company, right? So when the company does well, you do well, right? So when you're an investor, it's because you gave money to the company. That's what makes you an investor. Investors give money to companies and then they get paid returns on their investment. So that's no different for you. You invest in their company. Only difference is they're not giving you your returns, and they're not telling you you're an investor, but you need your dividends. So that's why you're an investor. Where are my dividends? Is correct. That's why they don't teach us financial literacy, because we start to realize ebook is in my bio, the link in my bio, the link tree. They would get us to recognize, okay, well, account is this, and this is an account. Well, I got an account here. I got an account here. I got an account here. So I got all of these accounts. But if an account is to deposit money, if an account is to deposit, then what did I deposit with these companies? Because an account simply means to deposit. So what did I deposit? These are the questions. These are the questions. Look, they don't got to leave American Express alone, because ultimately, just like with anything else, those who aren't going to get it they're never going to get it. Like I said, all the people going to American Express, I'm about to get one just to show y'all. I'm about to get one just to show y'all that if you know what you're talking about, it don't matter. Like I said, I'm gonna do it just to show you. It's that simple. Like, like they can go bum rush him, but they gonna bum rush him talking about some stuff that they don't know about, and they gonna get ignored. But me, I don't get ignored, so I'm good. I'm good. I'm not. I'm not worried about it because it ain't gonna mess me up. No, it ain't gonna mess me up. The one that's gonna mess up is people who don't know, people who don't got it. What are you talking about? The IRS 1099 audit report. What are you talking about, G? Even if you sign without knowing, you can rescind it. Yep. Get your get your money. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, you can audit any account, even your social media pages, because it's an account and they selling, making money off of you. Specifically, Instagram and Facebook, they turn you into mortgages. The reason any of these companies are able to close your account is because you gave them power of attorney. Oops. Oops. I shouldn't have said that. Oops. Oops. I didn't mean to say that out loud. You ain't hear that from me. You ain't hear that from me. But if you did hear it from me, then you know what to do to be able to make them stop. But I didn't say that out loud. My fault. My fault, gang. I did not say that out loud. No. Hey, hey, I know that's right. I know that's right, Aries Moon. I know that's right. And it ain't right. Ain't something I can make right. I'm probably not gonna post this live either. I was chatting way too much in the beginning. Maybe I'll come and clip the sauce out of it, but who knows? Who knows? Well, mm-mm. Last night was fire. Uh, I'll cater to you, girl, but late night you a terrorist. Walk hard and Sierra Mist. He said Capital One is a bunch of cucks. You funny, boy. You funny. He said you gotta come correct. You ain't lying. You ain't lying. Why you? Oh my god. I don't know. Is it, dog? God's child. You tell me. You tell me, dog. IRS Form 2848. You tell me, God's child. What you know about that? What you know about the fact that if you were to theoretically revoke said interest, that a certain three-letter agency would be the one to go through? I don't know, God's child. You tell me. I hope y'all are understanding why I'm picking on bro. It's not because he's wrong. It's not. Because, you know, if one was to revoke such things, like I said, a certain three-letter agency and their forms might be the way to go for that. So you talking to me about a certain form from a certain three-letter agency? What's going on? I hope y'all know which form it is. I'm not gonna say it, but he posted it. I'm not pinning the comment. But bro said which form that you could use. Um, um and again, that's not the only way to do it. There's a way to do it, but if I told y'all how to do it in that way, from everybody, yeah, I would I wouldn't be here. If I told y'all how to do it for everybody at the same time, I wouldn't be here. But there's a way to do it for everybody at the same time, and get rid of it over all your accounts. Um, but I wouldn't exist anymore if I told you how to do that. So I'm not. I may have already said too much. Definitely not posting this one. No, no, no. They gonna knock my page for this one. I'm surprised they ain't kicked me off as soon as I said it. But I also didn't say too much either. Mm-hmm. Yeah, y'all trying to get me picked off for real. That's what happening. Oh man. Yeah, y'all don't want me disappeared because I would definitely disappear if I started chatting about that. So I'm not gonna do that. Um, okay, even if your trust had an SS, a social security number, it would still be private. Now, the moment you get an EIN is public, but if you use your social for a trust, that's still considered private. Um, yeah, because I mean, every trust is private, but again, when you get an EIN, that's when it becomes public. But yeah, if you use your social, it's going to be private. And then if you got like a 9-8 number, which wasn't using your social at all, then that's foreign and private. But in order for it to be private, you just need to use your social for the EIN. Applying for an EIN would make that public, if that makes sense. Your question was kind of like, well, when I say putting it into a trust, we're talking about living trust. I guess would be more of a better answer to that question. It's not particularly public or private so much as the type of trust, which is a living trust, because again, the living man, right, is what you're doing when you do that, and they're not allowed to charge the living man. Again, the reason why all of your bills currently have that positive balance is because again, it's an estate. It's an estate. right? Um, we know that an infant is the decedent of an estate. So you're managing the estate of your all caps name, right? And they're considering that a dead entity, which is why they're able to charge, have that positive balance. But the moment that you flip it over into being a living trust and you become a living entity, then that's what switches over the status. Yeah, but companies can't charge a trust, at least not in the same way. But that's why it automatically flips the status into being negative, showing that that's money they owe you. And again, only a trust can deal with the trust, right? So they're not even allowed to interact with your trust at that point. So they just got to do what they got to do properly. Oh, yeah. There's no objections. There's no objections. Companies they might say, oh, we don't do that here, but they do. If you were watching the live from earlier, so many people were like, oh, yeah, they kept telling me that they don't do that. But then I told them that they do, and then they gave me the paperwork. And they've had different experiences with these companies. Um, but you are just giving them notice. Again, you're not asking them to do anything. You're giving them notice that liability has been transferred to the trust and you're no longer responsible and you need the account to reflect that. That's it. The trust is now responsible for this debt and you're not going to be dealing with them anymore. So they can do it. They give you a call after sending the letter. You got to know what you're talking about. There's no, again, because I don't know what they're going to ask you. What they're going to ask you might not be the same things that they ask me, but that's why you just understand the prospectus. Like I said, you got to understand why they can't deny you. If you understand that, then you won't have a problem telling them when they call you. But if you're asking me that, it's almost like you're asking, okay, well, why am I doing this? That's pretty much what you're asking. You're asking me why you're doing this so I can tell you why to say it to them. Right? What law supports what? You say that. What is that? What is that? You're the only one who need to stamp or who need to sign it. They don't need to sign it. But yes, you could also put it in the living, but they don't need to sign that. It has your name on it too. Yeah, they'll tell you stuff like that. We don't understand the intent of your, because again, they know what you're doing. They have trained their people to be oppositional. So I'm trying to say they've trained them to be oppositional because they understand. And again, they flat out have told people, well, if you put it in a trust, how can we collect from you? That is straight up what they will tell people on the phone. Remember, only a trust can deal with a trust. You see what I'm saying? Only a trust can deal with a trust. So you go read the trust laws. We got trust laws. Go read them. I want to keep everything in writing, as you should. Your name is still on it. Your name is still on it. So even if you're not the primary, your name is still on the instrument, which means you're a holder in due course. And you can do what you want with it. Just like if they print out a copy on bond paper, now they've just created another copy. You see what I'm saying? But both of you have equal rights to it. The Wife's Trustee Handbook is a second-hand source written by somebody else. It's good for the references that it gives you and the laws that it cites, but you wouldn't want to use that by itself. Well, they're not going to look up the UCC for your truck because your truck doesn't have a lien on it. Auntie already went over this. If they're in Delaware, because I saw your comment earlier saying that they weren't able to look up the UCC for your truck. I meant to answer this earlier. Thank you for putting that in again. But the lien is between the issuer and the depositor, bro. The lien is not going to be on your truck with your no, not if you're searching in Delaware. If you're searching in Delaware, you need to find the lien that the issuer has on the depositor. So I'm not sure what the company it is, but you need to. Sorry, I might have been covering my mic. You need to get the lien pulled from the issuer and the depositor, sir, not just looking for your truck. Because, yeah, they're not going to find anything. But what they will find is the lien between the issuer and depositor. That's what you pull from Delaware. So they weren't lying to you. When that company wasn't lying to you when they said they couldn't pull that because it doesn't exist. Okay, so Wells Fargo. You need to go on to Wells Fargo. You need to go pull their prospectus, and you need to see who is the issuer and who is the depositor. You need to go find that information for Wells Fargo and then search slightly. You were on the right path with your question of what to do next. It's just that you have them searching for the wrong thing. You have them searching for the wrong lien. The lien is between the issuer and the depositor and not on your actual truck. You feel me? No, because like I said, the lien is between the issuer and the depositor. So there's still a lien. It's just not the lien that they told you it was. You see what I mean? And it's also not filed in your state on you or on the vehicle. No, it's the issuer and the depositor, and the lien is on the title, which is why you can pay the taxes and go get the title. You see? Because that's all it is that you need to pay the taxes in order to get the title because the issuer hasn't paid the taxes. Even though they liened the depositor, they didn't pay the taxes. That's why you're able to pay the taxes and still go get it, even though that's how you get the lien off. You pay the taxes because there is a lien. It's just not the lien that they told you. This is why you're able to say, well, I don't have a lien on me. And the car doesn't have a lien because there isn't a lien on that. Liens on the title. You see what I mean? So there is a lien. It's just not the lien that they tell you. There is a perfected security interest. It's just not with the people who they tell you. See what I'm saying? So yeah. Clicked. It did, sir. I'm glad it did. Yeah. Y'all like to say we don't answer questions. We answer questions. And the only reason I answered it is because bro was nice about it. He asked the question earlier, I saw it. I didn't respond. I got distracted before I got back to it. And then he put it back in and he literally was like, sorry for the all caps. I just want to catch your eye, and then spelled out the message. So I'm like, all right, bro, I'm going to help you because you showed me that you've been in here for however long paying attention and you're just trying to get to, like, again, certain questions you can tell are in good faith. You know what I'm saying? Bro was chilling. That's why he got his question answered because he was respectful, and I appreciate that. But yeah, that's who it goes to. You just had the wrong person who you were searching for. Almost there, but not quite. But yeah, that's why you're able to pay the taxes and get the lien off because there is a lien, just not the lien that they said. So again, a lot of this you'll find is that things are in place. It's just not quite what they tell us it is, right? So we have to sneak back and figure out what is truly going on. Because we were able to get to the point where we're like, okay, I know there's no lien on me, there's no lien on the car, not in my state. So how is it that they're saying that there is still some lien, even though we don't know where this lien is? Then taking it to that further step of, oh, okay, it's because the lien is between the issuer and the depositor, and you can only pull it in Delaware where the companies are registered. So they do have a lien. That's why the office is like, well, I see that you don't have a lien, but we're seeing a lien, right? So we just have to pay attention to those things. It tells you in their forms that they lien all securities and notes. So you have to check in Delaware, yes. Wells Fargo issuer is Wells Fargo Bank National Association. The depositor is Wells Fargo Asset Securities Corp. So you take both of those names. You said I did search the Delaware on the depositor and issuer, but I got back the depositor and the trustee, not the depositor and the issuer. Look and see if it's in there what you're looking for. And if not, then go back and then now that you know the depositor for sure, find it because there is definitely an issuer. Or it will tell you maybe that they did lien them instead of the issuer. Like I said, you have to know the exact forms. I'm not sure which company you're putting over. They put the account into a negative status when the trust takes over. That is correct. Yeah. He said the prospectus has a graph showing the movement of the note. Yes, it does. And the name knows because he switched it over. So he's not just chatting to y'all. He switched it over and is telling you from personal experience that it goes into a negative status when you put it in a living trust. That's just what happens. Oh, I know you weren't asking me. I was reading it because you put it in the comments for them, bro. That's all. I was just letting them know that they can go pull it. Somebody already did the work for you. What about it? It might be incorporated in California. Again, go read their forms because it'll tell you in the forms um, where their jurisdiction is. So even if it's registered there, sometimes because they probably registered in Delaware too. Why are you? Why are you getting stuck on the Stamp Duties Act? Huh? It's not anything crazy. What do you mean when you say is it the same for rental leases? We were just talking about leases. Yeah, registered in 2 states. See it all the time on the T1 form. Yeah, they transfer things all day on their prospectus, into trust, out of trust. Yes, you can record rental leases with the county. You're supposed to record them with the county because that shows you paid a security deposit. The security deposit is what secures the unit. Like I said, when you get a lease, they're supposed to take that money, put it in escrow. The security deposit, they collect the interest. When you move out, they give you back the deposit and the interest. You're not supposed to be paying them every single month because your security deposit secured the entire unit. And And yes, leases are something that can be recorded. And when you record it with the county, then they can evict you. Yeah, you said you searched the Texas property codes. Go on my page. I literally posted a video with the property codes in there where they say specifically for Texas. Where it straight up say they got to record the lease. The county, the county is public record, but it's also a private corporation. So it is public record, but it isn't, which is why we also do deal with the newspaper because the newspaper is the true public record. Um, because even the county, they're a private corporation, so it's public, but it's really not. Um, it's public enough to notify everybody who needs to be notified, but it's not the end all be all, which is why you still got to run your birth announcement in the paper as opposed to just recording it. No, you don't have to put the lease in the newspaper. You can just record that. Again, that's what I said. It's public enough. It's public enough. Know what I'm saying? Oh man, I done turned around and it's how to get so late. I'm not sure if that is the case or not, but if it is, put a wet signature on there in front of them, and then look at them in their eyes and see what they say. You don't need a birth certificate at all. You don't need a birth certificate at all. When the baby is born, you do your birth announcement, a family Bible, record the birth. That's just as admissible as a birth certificate. In a lot of places, again, birth certificates are relatively new. They've only been around like 100 years, okay? Um, Before birth certificates, again, people just announced their baby's birth and claimed them the old-fashioned way. So that's what you do. You do it the old-fashioned way. Now, once you have your birth announcement, first thing you want to do is mess around and get that baby a passport, right? Obviously, you're not a you put that you're not citizen. Your wife, whatever, the parents are not citizens. The child has no social security number because the baby was just born. So you apply for the passport, then they got their proper status, not as citizens. And then once you have the passport, then you could get them a social security number in its proper status, again, so that they're not debt slaves, but then they still have access to commerce and are able to do things with their social, and then they have their own accounts and trusts and stuff that they can pull from, right? So avoid the birth certificate, get them the passport, get them the proper social, and then you're good. Do the birth announcement, obviously, record that, claim your kids properly, then passport, social security card in its proper status. Passport in its proper status, social security card for its proper status. You heard the one guy say they did the home birth and he was able to get his child a passport with no social, no birth certificate, because you don't need none of that. You might need to find out what's going on. If they got the money, they might try to be quick with it. So yeah, use that and actually pull the Privacy Act where it says that no government agency is allowed to discriminate against the person on account of not wanting to give them their social security number. It straight up say that in the Privacy Act. I posted that, but I'm going to post it again. What do you mean, Megan Muffin, for your child, or because for you yourself, all you would need is the FOIA letter, not putting a social on there, and then going to do that. The Minnesota 220 process would be separate for you. Um, but if you're talking about for a child, yeah, you would do a birth announcement and then get the passport once you have them claimed and stuff. I mean, theoretically, you could do it without the birth announcement, but you know, there's a certain order to these things that will make it go a little smoother. But yeah, it just depends on who you're talking about. If it's for you or your child. If it's for you, then you're good. Just get the FOIA letter and apply for the passport because you can do your Minnesota 220 after. It doesn't have to be before. They have to ask the Department of Homeland Security because that letter you gave them say that you're not a citizen. So now they got to go to Homeland Security and be like, "Hey, this person a citizen? Can we give them this type of card?" It's nothing. It's nothing to worry about. If they already have a birth certificate and SSN, then you just follow the recording national status process. You do it for them. Everything that they can do. You record their birth certificate. You claim them. You run the birth announcement, right? If your children are under 18, you claim them the same way you would. Run a birth announcement, claim them, put their birth certificate, get it ready for them to be able to Minnesota 220 that. But yeah. Yes, the letter does have a reference number, so it would make sense if they're verifying with DHS. Yeah, you can use the regular passport application. That's what I used. That's what I used, and it still came in the right status. I didn't use the national application. I just used the regular. If you sent 3 packets and they're not giving it to you, I don't know. You might have to go in and talk to them or go to a different office. Some people, it's always different. Yes, it does, God's child. Yes, it does. It's not in the videos. We keep saying it. When you do the FOIA letter and you go to the FOIA, you don't click on I-94, you don't click on none of that. You go straight to other and you say to run a person centric identity search. That is what the system is called, a person centric identity search. If you don't tell them to run a person centric identity search, they will skirt you. They will skirt you. Person centric identity search. PEER or PERSONCENTRIC centric. CENTRIC identity search. I know the video does say to click on I-94. That's why we updated the ebook. You can't update a video. We can make an update to the video and post it. But that's why we updated the ebook. And it's not in the second edition because during that time that was released, um, we weren't having that problem. I added that to the third one. So yeah, person-centric identity search on all records relating to my status or to your all caps name status as a United States citizen, any citizenship records. They will tell you that they ran a person-centric identity search and no responsive records were found. They can't tell you that it's not under their purview if you name the system that they use. And in my letter that they gave me back, and in the letter that they give back everybody, they say, we run a person-centric identity search and no records were found. So you have to say that. Under the records you're requesting, other, say person-centric identity search for all citizenship records of my all caps name. Just like that. So that's how you do it. PCIS, person-centric identity search. And the latest FOIA I got back after clicking on other and requesting the person-centric identity search, they asked for a notarized verification of identity. Yep, exactly. Exactly. That's how you know they're going to do it right. Because technically, under the Privacy Act, you have to give written permission saying they can release it. It's fine if it says no records found for person-centric. That's fine. I also submitted a PDF of a page which talks about PCIS. Exactly. And again, somebody said only immigrants would have that in there. Yeah, because they're the only citizens. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Because you request that from the United States Citizenship Office. You get that letter from the United States Citizenship Office. If it's the Office of Citizenship for the United States, that means every person who's a citizen is supposed to be in there. Right? So if you are a citizen and I am a citizen, they should have records of my citizenship documents. But the thing is, you can't be something you never applied to be. And I never applied to be a citizen of the United States. So I'm not one. But if I was, and if any of you were, they would pull a record on you. But I guarantee you, anybody who has immigrated and went through the whole citizenship process, and they run that person-centric search, oh, it comes back for them. It does. Because they're the only citizens. They're the only subjects. Come on. Yeah, citizen and immigration. It's both. I don't know what type of trust you put it in. And even if it generated the bill, it should be negative. For citizens, you use your naturalization certificate or whatever paperwork they give you in place of a birth certificate, and you take ownership of it. It's the same process. It's just slightly different. What company was it with? And it also may have been how they switched it over if they put it under a different type of account. FOIA Rule 3, if you ask for something 3 times, they're required to give it to you. Absolutely. All right, well, I've been on here for another hour 45. That's like 5 hours today. So I'm thinking I'm gonna hop off here soon. Tell them you need it urgently due to a threat on life and physical safety. You need it expedited. Mention the PCIS and their duty is by law to provide it. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Thank y'all for tuning in. It's been good. It's been good. Probably come back on live next week at some point. We'll see about it. Need to see about it. But it was good talking to y'all. It was good talking to y'all. And I will talk See y'all real soon.